Amazon has everything for back to school. Zebra lunchbox? Check. Cool Adidas gear like t-shirts, shoes, and backpacks? Check. Triceratops folders and pencils? Check. Laser Cat t-shirts? Check. Get your back-to-school shopping done now at amazon.com/back-to-school and enjoy free shipping on millions of items. No need to leave your home or hassle with crowds. Amazon.com. No better place to get everything back to school from A to Z.
Blog Talk Radio.
Good morning and welcome to Unlimited Realities. I am your host, Lisa Zimmer, and today I am very blessed to present to you a visionary, a humanitarian. Our guest today is Meera Gandhi, who is not only a philanthropist and social activist, but Meera brings light where there is darkness all over the world. Her incredible, tireless energy has promoted numerous charities globally, and she has worked within the organizations and foundations to make a difference for those who do not have the resources to make a difference for themselves. I'm waiting for Meera to call in from Hong Kong, and I'm just going to talk a little bit about her foundation. Her foundation is called the Giving Back Foundation, and she has written both a book and produced a documentary highlighting the many incredible charities globally that are contained within the Giving Back Foundation and others. The Giving Back Foundation is her foundation that she established with her husband back in 2010, her husband Vikram. And it's a 501c3 tax-exempt entity registered in the United States with offices in New York, London, and Hong Kong. The Giving Back Foundation assists in the education of women and children, addressing illness, poverty, and suffering. Its motto is, "We are to the universe only as much as we give back to it." The foundation also exists as a platform for debate and discussion as philanthropic activities continue to evolve around the world. So like I said, I am waiting for Meera to call in, and we will be discussing her wonderful organizations. She is quite an incredible soul. She is a person who comes from India. She's both Indian and Irish, which is when you see her face, she has the look of a true angel, and she comes from such an incredible wealth of culture and insight and wisdom that her ability to be unconditional is just really angelic. And without further ado, I'm going to introduce you now to Meera Gandhi. So without further ado, Meera, thank you so much for being with us today. Hi, welcome to Unlimited Realities.
Thank you, Lisa.
How are you? Oh, I'm so glad to have you on today. Your organization is so very deeply inspiring, and your book and your documentary, I was talking to the audience before we brought you on, and it has just, you bring light where there is darkness, and what you have been able to encompass in your young years has been absolutely phenomenal. So without further ado, we're just going to just dive right into, let's talk about what the Giving Back Foundation consists of, because where we are going with this, it's really focusing a lot upon the education of women and children, and it really addresses both health, illness, and poverty, and all of the suffering that so many have to go through and don't have the resources to help themselves. So these charities are just absolutely phenomenal, and they're global. So what do you feel is the need in regard to when we're dealing with women and children globally? There seems to be different needs within each country because of many different aspects that each country either respects or doesn't give as much support to the female or the children gender and energy. Do you find that some countries are more respectful of that, and others just need to be reminded? I mean, we find so much here that there's a lot of disrespect and lack of support here for women.
Well, what I've really found in running the foundation, which is essentially now really the first sort of global foundation of its kind, because we actually have offices on 4 different continents, which was the theme of the film, giving back across 4 continents. And what I've found is that need is universal. Everyone has some kind of need, and to that person, their need is most important. The person who doesn't have eyesight is important to them. For someone who needs a pen to finish an exam, need is important to that person. But what we have found is that need, for example, in Asia and the developing countries is it's more basic need-based, where in the West and the U.S. it's aspiration-based. People need more programs to promote women leaders. If people are educated through high school, then they really would like to be educated through college. If they have college, they want to make a shift career-wise, then they want to be educated more. They need other. So the need is just different, but need is everywhere, and I feel that we need to address it in whatever way the organizations want. I mean, we work with St. Michael's, and it's amazing to us that the girls actually, when they sit around with us, they talk about what they want to do. And there used to be a time where kids in those kind of hostels, their aim was, they would be happy being house help. And now they talk about wanting to be lawyers, doctors, they want to go on to college. And the Internet has also changed people's reach and people's desires. They've seen more, and now they desire more. So it's very exciting.
And there's also this, this global aspect within the charities, within the book that I'm reading. But what can we do? As Americans, sometimes the average American is very stunted in regard to what's going on out there and what the needs of other countries and people are. So they're a little bit ignorant or a little bit naive. What can we do to impart upon our children in the United States for an awareness to help others, even if we're not coming from affluence, but we're coming from an integrity and a heart base of humanitarianism, where we really want to reach out and help others? How can we, as parents and educators?
Well, Lisa, first of all, I have to say that Americans are the most generous people I have seen in the world. And I actually think, coming from the time of the Great Pilgrims, Americans, look at the way the tax is structured. It's structured towards giving. I learned about organized philanthropy in the U.S., having lived in the U.S. for 26 years, which is now helping me in my mission all over the world. And I think even though America is so ahead, first of all, I do want to say that Americans are extremely generous, and while know about all kinds of, different issues and different cultural things because they're separated by 2 great oceans, I think American hearts are just so incredibly generous. As a group, they will be the first to pick up and pitch in, the first to open their wallets. What can we do to educate young Americans? I really think that schools need to do more. They need to have more inspirational speakers come in and really talk about how people can take that giving leadership into their colleges and then into the workplace and then into the universe as grown adults. I think we need to have more ways to educate the mindset of young people, and that's really something that I've been focused on, the Giving Back Foundation. I have been going into schools. I've had a couple of very, very successful talks at Birch Lennox, and the kids have actually, in Manhattan, and the kids have actually come forth with suggestions and ideas. I feel like it has to start in schools, and I feel that about the rest of the world too. Just today I was thinking that I want to do more in Hong Kong schools. We need to start now. For example, my heart and mind really was developed at 16 when I was going to Mother Teresa's Ashadhan, and I met Mother Teresa, and I firsthand experienced the joy of giving and the joy of being with people whom you could give to. It's very empowering.
Right, and it's one of those things that when we plant the seed in the young, it really does take fruition, and there's that ability of compassion and sensitivity that really opens up the heart. And if we can just like bring that about in a more common way in our schools.
Just the awareness.
Right, exactly.
And I also feel that if we plant that seed, to use your expression, when kids are young, we just won't be sad, because there would be no time to be bored, and there would be no time to be sad, because there's always someone to give to, and then that giving and receiving and sharing it's just such an incredibly empowered way to live.
It truly is, and it's tapping into that unconditional heart, and that is, that's really where the juice of the energy lives within us. That's the soul of who we are, when we can give unconditionally in love to another and know that we're making a difference for somebody else. I believe
actually giving unconditional love is the most powerful thing, because you're truly not trying to get anything in return, and that's just such an incredibly beautiful way to live.
Yes, it is. I totally agree. It's something that I think if we can come from that place within ourselves, it's learned by example with our children, and there's that trickle down effect that really helps that change and that shift in awareness and compassion, and that's what the planet really, really needs. Let's get into a little bit about how this is brought together within the charities, and this is more of dealing with the business aspect, but you talk throughout the book in the book about microfinance institutions. Can you explain to us a little bit about what microfinance institutions are, as they're poverty focused?
Absolutely. Now, this was started by Muhammad Yunus, and his idea was to give loans that had no collateral to the poorest of the poor, so small loans like $200, $300, $100 to start small businesses. So women, if they bought 3 dozen mangoes and then sold them at the profit, they put the money back in, and before they knew it, they had a small stall that was selling mangoes, fruits, papayas, etc. And even though it has to be paid back at the end of the month, it enabled people to run their own businesses. And when I went to Morocco, Alex Counts, the president of Grameen, he set up for me to meet some of these microfinance businesses in Fez. And I'm so glad that Alex did that, because I was amazed to see these women. They had clothing boutiques, they had fruit stands, they had, that's my son who just gave in, hi Kabir, all sorts of businesses that they had started, and they were just doing incredibly well. And also they were very much in touch with the community, because the local inspectors would come by to see how they were doing. They knew them by name. They knew that they were running legitimate businesses. And I just felt that the whole environment was so empowered. They were making trips to Spain to bring in the cotton goods, and it was just hugely successful. And in India, this is one of the biggest movements, because it's not a handout, it's a hand up, and I think especially for women, it's just an excellent way to come out of poverty.
And you also have the Reach and Heal programs, where it really caters to India's children. It really was shocking to read that approximately 53% of India's children have faced some form of sexual abuse. How does this charity and the Reach and Heal program assist these children in India?
Well, Reach and largely through sports. there are a lot of sports programs set up, and the person who is behind it is someone called Rahul Bose, who is an Indian Bollywood star who actually went to high school with me, and he has completely thrown himself behind this and has made this made it very popular for a lot of people to get in